blood runs black in shattered streams. The wolf is real, not just in your dreams. The chains are broken, flesh is torn. From grave to hunt, you are reborn.
Well, hi, hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Turk, and welcome back to the Grouch Couch. Today, my friends, we are continuing our Borg adventure, our solo series right here with Oryx Grimjaw. Now, it's been a couple of weeks since my last episode. If you can't tell, blue hair, don't care. That's right. But we're going to get right back into the show here. If this is your first time, of course, viewing this series here, please make sure to hop over to episode 1 and give it a watch. It's got all the details and everything that you need. And, my friends, we're still well on our way on that first episode to getting enough likes to make this video series more than 5 episodes. So, make sure to leave a like below and subscribe so you don't miss any more solo stuff that we do right here on the channel. And I think that's enough YouTube jibber jabber. Of course, you guys know what it is. Let's get right into our story. Okay, so here we are in Foundry, back and ready to roll some dice and get back into the story. As we last left off, Oryx didn't sleep very well the night before. I believe it's due to one of his flaws, actually, that he cannot sleep because he shares the nightmares of others. And so he must have not had a good time trying to sleep. And our story today is going to start with Oryx, first of all, very tired and very hungry. And we're out on the road, and we're trying to just follow the road to figure out where we are and what's going on. As we remember, the last thing that the spirit inside of us said to us: first the shepherd, next the flock, bleed the stone, break the lock, follow the road where shadows weep, where dead men whisper in their sleep. So I'm positive that Oryx here is following the road. Now, before we can start or get into anything, we actually must roll on the calendar of Nethrobule. And I'm gonna roll a d20. If we get a 1, then a misery happens. That's 5. Okay, so nothing happens. We're good to go. Okay, so now our next step is to roll for the weather. Let's see what the weather's like out here. We've got a macro set up down here. We rolled a 2. So we're in a torrential downpour. And we'll roll here. What is the road like? Narrow wagon track used by farmers. So it's just downpouring. And I imagine from the last episode, there is like this empty river of blood, because a river came through, but I imagine that it's all drained out, so the dirt is just like that nasty maroonish brown, like all on the side of the road. And while we're walking on the road, our plan is, before we get to our next location, we need to scavenge, we need to hunt, we need to find food, we need to search for something. But before we can do that, we need to roll for events by the road to see what's happening with Oryx. Events by the road. 3 slavers leading 9 slaves, half beaten to death, half freshly caught. Oh. Does this matter to Oryx? Does Oryx care? I'm actually going to roll a yes-no to see if our spirit tells us anything about these slavers or anything that we should do with them before I get some descriptors on them. 2d20. I'd say that it's likely. So we're going to take the higher roll. It's a 16. Yes. Okay, so as Oryx looks at these 3 slavers, first of all, I want to paint the scene before the spirit talks to us, because I got what the spirit's going to say about 3 slavers, and I imagine, what are they? What are they? All right, so they're walking, and they've got these big chains that they're just holding, and attached to those chains are, I think each one of them has, each 3 of the slavers has 3 naked human slaves that is just covered in grime, and they're like bleeding, and some of them are like pleading, and their arms and feet are attached to these chains, and these slavers are just pulling them along. And I know for a fact that the slavers aren't just human. This is Borg. There's something else. There's something that have risen from the grave. Okay, so we have this, and we're going to use some cards, actually, and we're going to determine what this monster is. And this is actually from Solitary Depths 2. So I'm gonna grab my cards. So I've got these Rebellion Rum cards. This is what we're gonna draw from. They're kind of cool looking. Here we go. First card. That is a 6. So what does that make it? A 6 is fish-like. 4. has weapons stuck in it. Hearts, diamonds, it's defending its spawn. The 9 slavers, so I don't think they're spawn, but I do think that means they're protective over their slaves. Card 3 is HP and armor, and card 4 is morale. So we've got an 8 of clubs and a 5 of spades. Card number +5, so it has 10 morale. Card 5 is its attack. Chooses the damage die closest to the card number. 3. So it's a D4 damage. Definitely kind of cool. Drawing these cards for this. I think that's a really fun thing to do here. Okay, so super cool. And that's in Solitary Depths, by the way, if you're looking to do this yourself. So walking are these 3 fish-looking creatures that have just weapons sticking out of them. Like they've already taken some damage, like they had to fight to get these human slaves that they're now pulling on chains. As we look upon them, our spirit says to us,
3 wolves gnaw, 9 lambs bleed. The strong take all, the weak must plead. Break the chains or break their breath. It matters not, so long as death.
So our spirit is encouraging us to fight and kill these things. I'm going to say that each one of them has taken a little bit of damage because of the weapons that are sticking out of them, but the card that I drew says that they have 8 HP, which means they look pretty strong. And Oryx is kind of, for lack of a better term, he's kind of a little bitch, you know? He doesn't want to fight things. He doesn't want to do that. So I was thinking I was going to try to have Oryx resist the presence, but I think now is a good time than any for us to use our special ability for the first time. So as this spirit speaks to him, Oryx calls back and says, okay, I will set them free, but you need to help me. And the spirit says,
you killed the priest with no face. We have become closer. Allow me inside, and I will take over.
We're actually going to activate our special ability, which is really cool, which is the Flayed and Dripping Wolf. We talked about this a couple times already, but as the spirit takes over, we can turn into this nasty-looking wolf, and our attacks become DR10, which is awesome. Our fangs additionally crit on natural 19, and we get a -2 from any incoming damage. It's pretty sick. So Oryx is walking down this road and he sees these things. He begins to talk to his god, and then in front of them, Oryx drops down to his knees, and he drops his warhammer and his back cracks out like, and his mouth just extends into this crazy looking wolf. We have to remember that shifting requires a single painful round, and all armor is unusable. And one of the following stands at our side. So these things are just coming down the road, and we're walking down the road with them, and then we just start talking to ourselves. I'm imagining what it looks like to these fish creatures and these slaves, and we just drop to the ground and start crazy shifting, like, and I imagine they're like, what for the whole first round. They're a little scared. Their morale was 10, so this definitely doesn't scare them, but they drop their chains. I need to know what kind of weapons these things have. I mean, they have weapons inside of their skin. So what if actually they're like pulling these things out of their own skin? So there's like a sword. One of them just pulls a sword out of his own chest, this fish creature, and everyone else follows suit, like a club with a nail in it and like some arrows. There's like a fish with a bow, and he's pulling arrows out of his own body and putting them in, and they all prep for battle. All right, I'm gonna quickly roll 2d6 just to see who goes first in this battle. I'm going to say that we got them on a surprise round. So even though that first round of me turning into a werewolf, I'm going to say we got them on a surprise round. Okay, this white one is me, and the orange one is the enemies, and whoever gets highest goes first. We got higher, so we go first. Good news. And I know I can roll dice in Foundry, but I like rolling real dice sometimes, so okay, all right. His attacks have become a DR10, so we only have to beat a 10 to attack right now. So he is going to run down this road, and the first fish person, like wielding the sword, just lunges out with these crazy sharp teeth and these huge, just like bloodshot eyes on all fours. Like he's still kind of like cracking and transforming, and and I want to see if we hit this thing. That's a 14 plus 3 is a 17, and our claws and teeth are going to do 1d8 of damage. That's 3 damage to the first one. And they only have 8 HP each, so one of them's going to take some damage. And also, they have all these weapons in them, and like I said earlier, they're all going to have less HP than they started with. So I'm actually going to roll to see how much each one of them is missing. I'm going to roll a d4 for each one of them. So 4, 3, and 3. So we've got 4 HP, 5 HP, and 5 HP. Is each one of them are just covered in weapons that are just stabbed through them. So this one here has 1 HP left as we just rip the crap out of it. And I actually want to see, I'm going to make a DR check against their morale just to see if it's going to hang around at all. It got a 2. So it, as soon as we rip into it, now that it's its turn, it's like, nope, and it drops the chains that it's holding and just starts running down the road like this fish creature, just flopping, just like, nope, I'm out of here. But we have 2 more left, and they're going to try to attack us. They got to try to hit us. We get to make an agility check, DR 12, and if we fail, the enemy hits us. So first one is going to shoot a bow at us. That's a 1. So fumble in defense. PC takes double damage and armor is reduced 1 tier. When armor is damaged, penalties to strength and agility checks are not modified. So we're going to take double damage from dude's bow. That sucks. But we get -2 from our armor, which is great. And it's bloodied armor, so it's not technically going to... We're not technically going to lose anything, but... 6. Okay. I didn't change my number since the last round, but that's going to put us all the way down to 2 HP. That's awful because we still have 1 more attack. Wait, no, it's 6 -2 because of armor, so that actually puts us at 4. And we have 1 more attack that we have to take here, so agility check. Come on. That's a 5, which means this other guy's going to hit us too, and he's got a club with a stick in it. That's 2. All right, so we just take it. We just take it. Because we get the -2 from our wolf ability. And now we're going to lunge out at them. We're only going to beat a 10 again. Natural 20, baby. Yes. Yes. Sometimes we fail and sometimes we succeed. All right? This is good news. Okay, so on a crit, natural 20 on an attack, double damage. Armor protection is also reduced 1 tier. They didn't have any. Double damage. It means we get a D8 times 2. Full 16 damage. So we lunge out of this thing's neck. The one that just hit us, we're friggin' mad. And we grab this fish thing right in its gills and just rip it out. And this like bluish, nasty fish guts goes everywhere. And I want to roll to see if the other guy at this point, I'm going to roll on his morale versus his morale to see if he stays or to see if he runs. Okay, so I rolled from morale wrong the first time. We roll 2d6 and we compare it to the enemy's morale score. If it's higher, then the enemies flee. So let's try that again. That's a d12. That's not too... Here we go. That's a 7. All right, so he stays. He stays in combat, and he's got his club, and he's going to try to swing at us, and we got to try to dodge it. Ooh, that's a 2, which means he hits with his club. He can't kill us. He cannot. But it's pretty close here. D4. That's 2 damage. So we don't take anything because of our armor specialty, which is just broken. It's just broken because our armor doesn't go down. Sick from blood. Minus D2 incoming damage. It's right there. It's time for you to die. We lunge back out at him. We only got an 8, so we miss. We lunge out at him, and he jumps out of the way and almost trips over some of like the chains from all the slaves that are standing there, which I imagine they're naked, by the way, and they all kind of like cower in fear as they step back, and the fish person like makes weird fishy noises and like at the slaves, and they all step back, and then he winds up with his club axe one more time, and he's gonna try to get us. It's a 12, you miss. So we dodge out of the way, and as we dodge, we lunge back with our big, sharp teeth. And we got an 11, which means that's a hit. I feel like some of those slaves they're gonna book it. I mean, the one guy is dead, like on the ground, his throat is ripped out. And I think the 3 slaves that were attached to him are all gonna try to run. And they're like running together, but there's just one really huge chain attached to them. And they're just like dragging it down the street, down the road. And there's 2 groups of slaves still left. So there's 6 of them left here, and we must free them. 7 damage. So we clamp down onto his throat and rip it out. And as we rip his throat out, I'm wondering if our god says anything to us now that it's been like fed like blood. As Oryx staggers back from this slaughter, his body's like twisting, wrenching back into the frail, undead form that he is. And the taste of hot fish blood still lingers in his tongue. The air is thick with the stench of torn fish. And the shattered remains of his victims are just steaming in the cold rain that's just pouring down. Because remember, it's colossal rain happening. Then I think the presence speaks again inside of him, and it's happy. The beast is well fed.
Teeth and flesh, a hunt well run. The red moon rises, the feast's begun. You wear the wolf, but not the crown. Soon you'll kneel, soon you'll drown.
I've got no idea what any of that means. Not relevant, but Oryx is going to try to walk over to these 6 slaves that are left. We just saved their life, but we could kind of have scared the crap out of them. So I actually want to roll to see what their disposition is towards us. So we roll a 6d6, which is 2d6. What is their disposition? That looks like a 53. 53 is over friendly. So they've seen what went down and they are thankful. They are like, holy crap, you saved us. Thank you so much. This is good. This is the first good thing to happen to us for a little while. And Oryx sees all 6 of them and he's like, yeah, of course, I wanted to do that to save you. It wasn't a spirit inside of me that told me to do it. No, he's like, yeah, we're all just trying to survive out here. I have no idea where I am or what's going on, if I'm being completely honest. As he walks over and he's going to get the keys off of the slaver's like waist belt, and he's going to start unlocking them. And he's like, do you guys know how to get to civilization? I have to get food. It's been a long time since I've eaten anything or even slept. Do they know how to get somewhere safe, to get something? There's 6 of them. At least one of them has to know. So I'm going to call it likely. At least one of them. I'm going to call it very likely. There's no 10s. That's a 17. So that's a yes. So one of them's going to step up. And we're going to roll for his name right now, actually. I like cuts. I rolled it twice. I like cuts. So he approaches, and I imagine this guy's like taller, a little bit more lean, a little bit more, like cut, but he's got scars and blood and mud all over his body. He's standing there naked, and I also imagine that these things shaved all of their heads, but this guy might be a little bit more fresh. Because like I said, there was a couple of fresh ones. And so his head isn't shaved yet. And that's why he's still a little bit more cut. And hence the name. And he says, friend, my name is Cuts. I know where we are. We are close. Friend, we are close to the Valley of the Undead. We are a few days' travel from Shelsenswig. And I don't know how to pronounce that right. Shelswig. He's like, but I'm going to do a yes or no question. So he knows where we are. Does he know somewhere nearby where we could rest and hopefully find food? I'm just going to 2d20 here. Is it likely or unlikely? He's freshly caught, so we'll call it likely. It's a 10 and a 12. But on a 10, that also means random event. So we need to hold on to that random event, because at the end of this dialogue, something is going to happen. He's like, yes, I know somewhere nearby here that we could rest and we could get some food. My head immediately goes, a few hours travel through the dying forest. There's a cabin. It's where I was headed when I got captured. Oryx, as my savior, I will help thee rest and help thee eat. Oryx is like, all right, man. Yeah, thanks, man. That would be wonderful. And I actually have, I I can create a random scum. I have random scum button. So if this guy decides to join up with us after we talk for a little bit, I can have stats for him. So create random scum, choose from classes. Any one of them, random. Make scum. Occult herb master. Nice. This guy's name is Cuts. He doesn't have any weapons or any armor. Good. And we have to delete all this stuff because he does not have any of this. He's a slave. He's naked. None of that. He's born of the mushroom, raised in the glade, watched by the eye of the moon in a silverback pool. Cruel and shrewd, starved, gaunt and pale. And he giggles insanely at the worst possible times. Possibly raised in the illegal midnight markets of Schleswig. Ooh, that's fun because that's where we're trying to head to. He can create decoctions. Maybe that's where his laboratory is. So his portable laboratory, this is not that portable, is in a cabin. He's always searching for ingredients, and he has the materials to create 2 randomly determined decoctions and can brew a total of D4 doses. If used, they lose vitality after 24 hours. Okay, so he can make these things, and he was heading to his cabin when he got captured. He was going there to be able to make these things. Also, he's only level 1, and he has no silver because he was captured. Here he is. Cuts. Okay, after all that is said and done, we've got Cuts made, and he's like, Oryx is like, yes, please, let's go. And does Cuts ask anyone else if they want to go? I honestly, there was 6 of them. I pictured 2 of them already booked it. There was the one guy who approached us first. Does Cuts, is he like, everyone come with? He's kind of cruel, right? Someone call it unlikely. 2 13s. Yeah, he's like, does anyone else want to come with us? It's a safe space. And the 2 that are left, do they say yes? I'm gonna call it unlikely. 6 and 5, so that is an extreme no. They're like, no, man, we got places to go. We need to get out of here. And so they book it, just leaving Oryx and Cuts together. And they walk. They start walking through the forest. Now, as they begin to walk away, we have a random event that happens. Because we got to remember, we got that 10 earlier. And if you roll a 10 on a yes or no question, random event. So we're going to roll that. We have random event focus right here. So we're going to roll us a d12. We got a 2. What does that mean? Faction/community action. The Chaos Portents. D100. A 94 is Weep. Whoops, not that. Another D100, please. Danger. Weep. Danger. Was faction/community action. So do you remember the guy that got away? He had 1 HP and he ran away. He's coming back up the road and he's crying because his leaders are now whipping him as they're coming back up the road, and he's pointing like, there they are, and we're gonna take off into the forest, the both of us. Like, we see these fish creatures with whips and they're coming back to get us. All the slaves got away and we are bouncing out. Oh, but wait, I do quickly want to check the bodies before we move on. We have to do that. All right, that's 1 body at 28 silver, 1 seemingly edible ration of dried meat. Yes. Yes. This is good news. 28 silver. We have so much money. Okay, we have 1 dried ration. All right, so now we're just gonna run. I mean, we're running into this forest to try to make it away from them and to our cabin. So we're gonna roll agility here. 14, very good, and 17. So we're just booking it, the both of us. We run through this forest, just through the trees, and Oryx is tired. And eventually, we come upon this cabin. And as we slow down, Cuts is like, here we are. This is my alchemy cabin. I come here, I create things that, I create potions and things that I need. So let's go inside. I have some food stored, enough to get you through the night, and I'm gonna try to make us a couple potions. He's like, maybe we can sit down around the fire while we eat, and you can tell me who you are and where you came from, and maybe if I trust you enough, I'll share a little bit about me. And Oryx is like, okay, yeah, I'll try. And we're gonna go in there, and he's gonna have some food for us. What kind of food is he gonna have? Looking through all my tables real quick to see which one I want to use, because I have a lot. There's so many roll tables, you guys. For this, there's so many. It's kind of overwhelming how many roll tables there are. But I guess it's because I have so many different books. Okay, well, quickly, let's roll room adjective. As we enter into this thing, we're gonna roll a d20 just to see what it looks like in this cabin. We got an 18, so it's ugly and it's defaced. So as we step inside, there's like tags everywhere and like the windows are broken and stuff, but there's like a nice little area that Cuts is cleaned up in like these ruins, because now I'm imagining it as like an abandoned cabin that he just kind of set up shop in. And so there's like tags and nastiness, and there's just a little area that he's made that he camps out in. Okay, so these ruins that he's set up shop in, I also think that there's like roots from old dead trees that are like coiling like veins all through the ground and up through the walls. And as we step inside as well, I think there's a thick scent of obviously like damp earth and like sage and something rotting, something far less wholesome. And as we get inside, he lights the fire and it burns real low and it casts shadows like, you know, over the walls in the darkness of the dead forest as he begins preparing us food. And I'm just gonna come up with like some Borg themed food that he makes for us. And as he's cooking it, I think he says, "This place has been compromised, so we might as well together. Let's finish everything that I have, and then tomorrow we'll set off together. I must return to town, and you look like you could use a friend." And Oryx is like, "Yeah, please. I'm following the road. I'll tell you my story while we eat." And he's gonna cook for us something like, I imagine like a thick, oily soup made from like leech fat and charred mushrooms and some old bread, probably black bread. It's like crusted. Maybe when he like rips open the bread, for some reason it leaks like some thick red crimson fluid, and some kind of like curd, some soft grayish cheese that's like riddled with black veins, and it's kind of nasty. And to drink, some thick fermented drink. It's made from like luminescent fungi, being that he's like an herb master. You know, some kind of fungi that's like growing out of like corpse-bound soil. And I think Cuts eats without hesitation. And we see now that his teeth are like stained with like the remnants of like all of his blasphemous concoctions. And he watches Oryx just to make sure that he does eat, you know? And obviously Oryx does, because he hasn't eaten in a long time. And he's gonna, while they're eating, tell the story to Cuts. And I think he's literally gonna tell him about the presents, because what does he have to lose, you know? And he's like, well, I can't sleep too close to anybody, not while they're sleeping. So if you wouldn't mind tonight, let's take turns keeping watch and sleeping, because I share the nightmares of others. And there is a presence, a spirit that haunts me. It can take over my body, as you've seen out there on the road, turned me into a wolf. It speaks in riddles. I don't know who I am or where I came from, but it's leading me somewhere. I don't know if it be good or if it's bad. I'm still trying to figure it out. And Cuts is like, presence, huh? Well, that can never be good. I'll tell you what, if you tell me what it says, maybe I can help dissect what's going on. I know a little bit about this world. I've been here a while, and I can help you. Look, I haven't got nothing else going on. I'm just creating concoctions. Wasn't his background actually? He was raised in the illegal midnight markets of Shelswig. So he's like, my home is Shelswig. I know everything about it. We'll go there next and see if we can get some help. Maybe somebody knows something about this spirit that haunts you. He's like, all right. And they're going to eat and they're going to rest for a night. And that was another day in the world of Borg. We didn't die. We had a battle. We met a new friend, and we're safe. And I'm still learning the processes of rolling these dice and doing these things, because this is a new system for me. I'm so used to using Mythic. If you watched my other solo RPG stuff, you know how much I like Mythic. So this is a fun process for me, but I'm still learning and we're walking through it. And I don't know exactly how I want to play things and do things because there's so much material. So we're kind of just doing what we can. But I do believe, my friends, that is where we're going to end this episode of Borg. Please remember, if you like this Borg series, to leave a like. And make sure to leave a like on that first episode, because if it reaches 100 likes, we're going to do 10 episodes instead of the usual 5 of this series, just like I do with every series. And if you do want to check out another series, I have done Walking Dead. I'm planning on doing another one. And there's all kinds of plenty of different series. It's right here on the channel. So make sure to check them out. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to pick this stuff up for yourself, make sure to use our Drive-Thru RPG link down in the description. And man, I just love Borg. So this is fun. Let me know what you think. And if you have any suggestions for cuts, other NPCs, stuff like that, let me know down in the comments and I'll include it best I can. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Take a seat on the couch and roll for initiative. I'll see you next time.